Right. All right. April 24th, about 5:30 p.m. We have just concluded a transaction where Miss Lisa Mecke just sold the property to us. Lisa, first I would like to thank you so much for being part of our life for the recent few months and so on. Why don't you give us just a brief background as to what caused into you getting into a hardship situation where you could no longer keep your payments?
Well, I'm a single parent, and I've been on my own for like 10 years, and it just had a lot of credit cards, a lot of debt, and basically stealing from Peter to pay Paul, and went through a bankruptcy, and like most Americans, took out when prices were going great with the housing, took out.
So you actually refied your property.
More than
and
once.
Back then probably more than once. In a way, you know what, it's a good point, because in a way, most Americans in the recent 70 years or throughout the 7 years of the boom, 2001 to 2008, so on, in a way went every year or two to their savings, which is the equity, and they pulled money out. And they use that as supplement to their salary that have not been changed for a few years.
Well, that's exactly what I had done.
All right, you and obviously other 50 million Americans and so on.
Right.
So you end up suddenly with a huge payment of mortgage payment.
Correct.
Single mom trying to support for her kids' college, you know, how expensive it is and so on. And in a way, you had to decide, is it food on the table or making the mortgage payment, right?
Correct.
That was the bottom line.
That's the bottom line.
And not that you have planned to skip the payments or did not want to stand behind your obligations. You actually had to choose food or mortgage payment. Was that correct?
That's correct. Pretty close.
Okay.
And it seemed like I was making ends meet for a while, but I just think when the economy took a turn, food prices were higher, gas was higher, everything was harder, and then it was
nowhere to turn. I mean,
Right.
there is no one that you could not refi now and pull some more money out, right?
Right,
So
that's
was,
correct.
So in a way, you had to stop making the mortgage payments, right?
That's correct.
And you have stopped making the mortgage payments, and you've been approached by the bank saying, "Hey, Lisa, either come up with the money, or we will take your property," right?
That's correct.
At that time, what did you try to actually work with the bank, tell them about your situation? Maybe they will work out something with you?
I did for a long time.
All right, give me some, because that's obviously related to many people that try to work with the bank and they're getting nowhere. Why? Tell me why. How many times you talk to the bank? How many times you send them the papers? How many times they said yes and then they turned someone on you and they said no? Just give us a few seconds of it.
No.
I know that you were very frustrated back then when we met about it.
No, and I was, and they actually tried to work with me as much as they could, but it just seemed like what they laid out was like, okay, for a year, and I did get somewhat of a modification, but it wasn't really enough. And
in the end, it was very close to what you started with, right?
And it was actually, they gave me like, okay, for a year, you're going to get, this payment, and then, but eventually in the next couple of years, it was going to be as higher than what it started.
And you knew that your salary would not double just for no reason, right?
Right.
And more than that,
right.
During these years recently, as a teacher, I could say you're a teacher, you lost your privilege of getting this salary over the summer, right?
Right.
Which a lot of people working for schools and so on, they experience the exact same issue that you had,
Right. And we haven't had a raise in 4 years. We haven't had a step in 4 years.
Yeah, the cut. Yeah.
Right. So if anything, we're making more work and less pay, and it just was not. It was
well. That's obviously led you to this situation. So,
That's
Lisa,
right.
when we met, you told me about it. I told you, listen, Lisa. My part would be I want to buy a property, and we will use our knowledge to request from the banks, and you had a few loans there, first and second and so on, to allow us to buy a property under certain conditions. Tell us a little bit about your experience with this process. Did you find it
very easy?
Okay.
I found it easy. I found I didn't have to.
First, I hope we gave you the impression we are not banks and you can talk and we can actually listen and we are human beings and so on, right?
Right, but I also didn't feel like it was very easy for me. We didn't have to communicate too often. It wasn't like you were at my doorstep every minute asking me for things. So it was pretty simple.
But you were updated periodically, right?
Yes,
If we need to
yeah.
have any documents from you, you did receive the phone call. If you had any questions, you did call us, right?
Right, yes.
How was the
No,
communication?
the experience was great and the communication was great and you always got back to me or you were always available. So no, the communication
Did you have
was
any
great.
questions that never answered, or
No,
you had
no
to ask
questions
twice?
that were- no.
Nothing.
All
And
my
we
questions
update
were
you
answered.
about the progress, right?
Right.
Now, did we give you the impression that we're working with them, and did we tell you, hey, Lisa, it seems like it's going this way, and we are estimating to be closing and 30 days from now and so on? Did we give you this feel?
You did.
And obviously, as a teacher, you had an issue with closing so early throughout the year, and we requested to have it closed later, and we had
were able
real,
to get an
real
extension, and that was
hard
very
time to get
helpful.
extension, and we did get it though. We did explain that you're a teacher, and we will get it up to today, which is as far as we can go. Obviously, it's not up to us. That's
I
the-
was very pleased that I was able to get the extension and work
Good.
everything
Tell
out.
us
so.
a little bit more about the banks on one side, and then you had the issues with your association, right? I mean, you fall behind some payments and so on. So sitting here today, selling your property, you owed money to the banks and you owed money to the association.
I feel very relieved. I mean, the
How much money
association
did you have
was
to
a
come
lot of
up
pressure.
to this table today? How much?
Zero.
All right. Did you
So
pay
very
any
pleased
money to the
about that.
association?
No, what? No, I paid them. I was giving them a little bit of money monthly just to kind of
Throughout,
keep
by
up with
today.
Them. But no, I haven't given you anything for the closing towards what I owe the association.
Nothing. What about the bank? Did you come up with any money?
I came up with nothing.
Did I ask you, Lisa, bring some check for me, bring some money for me to cover some expenses?
No, you did
Nada.
not. No, not.
So in a way, you say you had a great experience.
I did. It was a
and then
great
you come in here
experience.
today, you're selling your property, knowing what went behind it, and your cost was
a lot of work, and my cost was zero. Nada.
Isn't it
Nothing.
beautiful?
Zero.
zero. Okay. And if I had to ask you about the overall experience, and that's include customer service, answering your phone calls, being knowledgeable, working with the bank, getting the results you wanted. 1 to 10, what would you rate our service to you?
A 10 for sure.
A 10?
Yes, it was an easy process. It
Wow.
gave nothing. I had all the information I needed along the way, and communication was great. And like I said, it was an easy process. As you know.
And
on my
are you
part.
happy today knowing the results that you're obviously walking away from?
Yes, I'm very happy.
In a
And I
way, it
appreciate
is kind of a fresh start for you, right?
It is.
Okay, beautiful. She make you smile. One last thing. Lisa, you understand that you are one of many, particularly a teacher, South Florida, single mom. What would be your advice to those who are experiencing right now a hardship with their mortgages and do not know where to turn?
Well, call Ronnie.
That's not what I meant. I meant, what, should they just let it go? Should they seek some alternatives? What is the best possible solution that you thought?
I would have thought letting it go would be easier than anything else, but like
Right,
I
but
said,
you would have to carry the consequences for that later.
Exactly, and I was thinking that was what was going to happen until you came into my life or into the picture.
Thank you so much.
But I appreciate it, and I feel a lot
So
better
your
about
advice
it.
would be, don't just give up.
No,
Seek an
yes.
alternative advice or seek an alternative way to come up, obviously, on top when you are facing hardship and so on.
That's correct.
And a word to those that believe that, sorry, but Jesus will come tomorrow and give them money. What is your experience with that? I mean, we all have a faith. We all want to come up tomorrow with a solution, but it's not unless you take action and face the difficulties that you are facing every day. You would not have any solutions. There are many that I find I like to share with you that saying, "Oh, it's gonna be okay." I mean, Jesus will help me.
Right.
What would you have to say about it? And you see, I'm asking you because I know you are a teacher.
Right.
Your job is to educate people, all right? And I know that you would have a good advice for those who are saying,
Right.
I will solve my problem elsewhere, buy something else.
Well, I just think that the solutions, are sometimes don't come about that easy. I mean, money doesn't grow on trees and drop out from the sky. So I wish it did. But, also, I understand a lot of people want to, keep their homes and, of course, the money that they put into it. But I also think what we've been left with all the debt, that can really overwhelm you, and it can make you sick, and it can depress you, and it's nothing.
That's another aspect we've been talking about.
And
some people are getting very depressed on just not sleeping at night because of their debt.
But I feel like it's a new lease, and you get rid of everything that's been on your shoulders and all your worries, and you just do like most Americans, and you try and just start over with what you have.
And what is the feel today? Now you're walking out of this room today feeling what?
I feel great. I feel like a big weight has been lifted off my shoulder. And
most people are saying the monkey's
off the back. No, I feel like a big weight, and like I said, I feel really good that I won't have people coming after me for everything that I owe, and running around and hiding, and worrying about what's going to happen later on. So this feels really good, and I appreciate it.
Well, Lisa, I could tell you it was my pleasure and the office pleasure to work with you and to provide you with a solution. Obviously, we did disclose to you that we are doing it for profit, and our intention is to sell it. Will you disclose that our intention is to sell it and to rent it, obviously?
Yes.
Okay. And obviously now you understand why, because we have to go through the whole thing, and as you know, you have not paid a penny. We need to generate some income to have this system, works and so on. This is how we are obviously providing for our families and for the expenses to provide solutions for people like you. Thank you so much for having us in your life, and we hope obviously we'll get you in our lives again, but in better situations. All right?
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Lisa.